What was the capital of France?
The capital of France was Paris.
Who developed the theory of relativity?
The theory of relativity was developed by Albert Einstein.
When did World War II end?
World War II ended in 1945.
What is the largest planet in our solar system?
The largest planet in our solar system was Jupiter.
Who wrote Romeo and Juliet?
Romeo and Juliet was written by William Shakespeare.
What was the first manned mission to land on the moon?
The first manned mission to land on the moon was Apollo 11.
When was the Declaration of Independence signed?
The Declaration of Independence was signed in 1776.
What is the chemical symbol for water?
The chemical symbol for water was H2O.
Who painted the Mona Lisa?
The Mona Lisa was painted by Leonardo da Vinci.
When did the Titanic sink?
The Titanic sank in 1912.
What was the first artificial satellite in space?
The first artificial satellite in space was Sputnik 1.
Who discovered penicillin?
Penicillin was discovered by Alexander Fleming.
When was the Great Wall of China built?
The Great Wall of China was built over several centuries, starting in the 7th century BC.
Who was the first president of the United States?
The first president of the United States was George Washington.
When did the Cold War end?
The Cold War ended in 1991.
What is the currency of Japan?
The currency of Japan was the yen.
Who wrote To Kill a Mockingbird?
To Kill a Mockingbird was written by Harper Lee.
When was the Berlin Wall torn down?
The Berlin Wall was torn down in 1989.
What is the largest ocean on Earth?
The largest ocean on Earth was the Pacific Ocean.
Who was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize?
The first woman to win a Nobel Prize was Marie Curie.
When was the Magna Carta signed?
The Magna Carta was signed in 1215.
What is the capital of Japan?
The capital of Japan was Tokyo.
Who was the 16th President of the United States?
The 16th President of the United States was Abraham Lincoln.
When was the first successful airplane flight?
The first successful airplane flight was in 1903 by the Wright brothers.
What is the largest desert in the world?
The largest desert in the world was Antarctica.
Who painted the Sistine Chapel ceiling?
The Sistine Chapel ceiling was painted by Michelangelo.
When was the Industrial Revolution?
The Industrial Revolution began in the 18th century.
What is the smallest prime number?
The smallest prime number was 2.
Who was the Queen of Ancient Egypt known for her beauty?
The Queen of Ancient Egypt known for her beauty was Cleopatra.
When was the first successful heart transplant performed?
The first successful heart transplant was performed in 1967.
What is the speed of light?
The speed of light was approximately 299,792 kilometers per second.
Who was the founder of Microsoft?
The founder of Microsoft was Bill Gates.
When did the Black Death occur?
The Black Death occurred in the 14th century.
What is the largest mammal on Earth?
The largest mammal on Earth was the blue whale.
Who was the leader of the Soviet Union during the Cuban Missile Crisis?
The leader of the Soviet Union during the Cuban Missile Crisis was Nikita Khrushchev.
When did the Renaissance period begin?
The Renaissance period began in the 14th century.
What is the chemical symbol for gold?
The chemical symbol for gold was Au.
Who wrote 1984?
1984 was written by George Orwell.
When was the first modern Olympic Games held?
The first modern Olympic Games were held in 1896.
What is the largest animal to have ever lived on Earth?
The largest animal to have ever lived on Earth was the blue whale.
Who was the first woman in space?
The first woman in space was Valentina Tereshkova.
When was the Great Fire of London?
The Great Fire of London was in 1666.
What is the currency of China?
The currency of China was the yuan.
Who was the 42nd President of the United States?
The 42nd President of the United States was Bill Clinton.
When was the first successful organ transplant?
The first successful organ transplant was in 1954.
What is the boiling point of water in Celsius?
The boiling point of water in Celsius was 100 degrees.
Who was the author of Pride and Prejudice?
Pride and Prejudice was written by Jane Austen.
When did the American Civil War end?
The American Civil War ended in 1865.
What is the largest mountain on Earth?
The largest mountain on Earth was Mount Everest.
Who was the first person to step on the moon?
The first person to step on the moon was Neil Armstrong.
What was the primary cause of the French Revolution?
The primary cause of the French Revolution was economic inequality.
When was the discovery of the structure of DNA announced?
The discovery of the structure of DNA was announced in 1953.
Who painted Starry Night?
Starry Night was painted by Vincent van Gogh.
What is the currency of India?
The currency of India was the rupee.
When was the first successful organ transplant from a deceased donor?
The first successful organ transplant from a deceased donor was in 1967.
Who was the 28th President of the United States?
The 28th President of the United States was Woodrow Wilson.
When was the invention of the telephone?
The telephone was invented in 1876 by Alexander Graham Bell.
What is the largest moon of Saturn?
The largest moon of Saturn was Titan.
Who composed the Moonlight Sonata?
The Moonlight Sonata was composed by Ludwig van Beethoven.
When did the Great Depression begin?
The Great Depression began in 1929.
What is the largest desert in Asia?
The largest desert in Asia was the Gobi Desert.
Who was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize in Physics?
The first woman to win a Nobel Prize in Physics was Marie Curie.
When was the Battle of Gettysburg fought?
The Battle of Gettysburg was fought in 1863.
What is the currency of Brazil?
The currency of Brazil was the real.
Who wrote The Great Gatsby?
The Great Gatsby was written by F. Scott Fitzgerald.
When was the Renaissance period?
The Renaissance period was from the 14th to the 17th century.
What is the largest planet in our solar system?
The largest planet in our solar system was Jupiter.
Who was the 32nd President of the United States?
The 32nd President of the United States was Franklin D. Roosevelt.
When did the Vietnam War end?
The Vietnam War ended in 1975.
What is the melting point of ice in Fahrenheit?
The melting point of ice in Fahrenheit was 32 degrees.
Who was the ancient Greek philosopher known for his teachings on ethics?
The ancient Greek philosopher known for his teachings on ethics was Aristotle.
When was the Magna Carta sealed?
The Magna Carta was sealed in 1215.
What is the currency of Russia?
The currency of Russia was the ruble.
Who was the first European explorer to reach India by sea?
The first European explorer to reach India by sea was Vasco da Gama.
When was the discovery of the New World by Christopher Columbus?
The discovery of the New World by Christopher Columbus was in 1492.
What is the boiling point of water in Kelvin?
The boiling point of water in Kelvin was 373.15 K.
Who was the 26th President of the United States?
The 26th President of the United States was Theodore Roosevelt.
When was the invention of the printing press?
The invention of the printing press was in the 15th century.
What is the smallest prime number greater than 10?
The smallest prime number greater than 10 was 11.
Who was the 44th President of the United States?
The 44th President of the United States was Barack Obama.
When did the Industrial Revolution reach its peak?
The Industrial Revolution reached its peak in the 19th century.
What is the currency of South Africa?
The currency of South Africa was the rand.
Who painted the Girl with a Pearl Earring?
Girl with a Pearl Earring was painted by Johannes Vermeer.
When was the discovery of penicillin announced?
The discovery of penicillin was announced in 1928.
What is the capital of Australia? Who
The capital of Australia was Canberra.
was the 12th President of the United States?
The 12th President of the United States was Zachary Taylor.
When did the Russian Revolution take place?
The Russian Revolution took place in 1917.
What is the currency of Mexico?
The currency of Mexico was the peso.
Who was the 22nd President of the United States?
The 22nd President of the United States was Grover Cleveland.
When was the first successful kidney transplant performed?
The first successful kidney transplant was performed in 1954.
What is the capital of South Korea?
The capital of South Korea was Seoul.
Who wrote War and Peace?
War and Peace was written by Leo Tolstoy.
When was the discovery of electricity?
The discovery of electricity dates back to ancient times, but significant discoveries were made in the 18th and 19th centuries.
What is the currency of Canada?
The currency of Canada was the Canadian dollar.
Who was the 20th President of the United States?
The 20th President of the United States was James A. Garfield.
When was the Battle of Waterloo fought?
The Battle of Waterloo was fought in 1815.
What is the speed of sound in air?
The speed of sound in air varies, but is approximately 343 meters per second at room temperature.
Who was the 38th President of the United States?
The 38th President of the United States was Gerald Ford.
When did the Ottoman Empire fall?
The Ottoman Empire fell after World War I in 1922.